Have you ever felt the emptiness of an empty house as the years pass by? When the laughter of children fades and you find yourself facing the silence, it can feel like the world is moving on without you. But here's the truth. You're not alone in this journey. Many of us, as we age, experience the weight of loneliness. Yet, it doesn't have to define us. There are ways to turn solitude into strength, rediscover joy, and embrace life with purpose in the later years. If you're watching this and can relate, drop a comment below with the city you're living in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Your support truly means the world. Now let's dive into how you can cope with loneliness and start living life with a renewed sense of purpose. As we begin, let's first address one of the biggest challenges we face in our later years, loneliness. Here's how you can turn that feeling around and find strength within yourself. Coping with loneliness, turning solitude into strength. As we grow older, loneliness can become one of the most significant emotional challenges we face. The bustling house once filled with laughter, the daily interactions with children and spouses, all begin to fade. Over time, as family members become busy with their own lives, the house becomes quieter, and the walls may start to feel more like a reminder of what has been lost, rather than a place of comfort. For many older adults, this solitude can feel overwhelming, often making us question our place in the world. Mary, a 68-year-old woman, faced this very reality after losing her husband to illness. The house that once echoed with shared memories now felt like a silent prison. Her children, though loving and caring, had their own families and careers to manage. The visits became less frequent, and Mary found herself spending days in solitude, watching the clock tick by, counting the moments of stillness. It wasn't just the absence of sound, but the deep sense of being left behind that weighed heavily on her. She often found herself staring at the phone, waiting for a call that never seemed to come. One day, as Mary sat by the window, watching her neighbors coming and going, she realized something important. She couldn't continue like this. She had to find a way to cope, a way to reconnect with life and make peace with the silence around her. Mary took the first step by joining a local community group. It wasn't easy at first. She was shy and hesitant, unsure of how to engage with people she didn't know. But gradually she began forming connections, even if they were small ones. She started meeting for coffee with neighbors, attending events at the local community center, and volunteering at a nearby food bank. Each interaction, no matter how brief, helped her feel less isolated. Mary also rekindled a long-forgotten hobby, painting. The canvas became her refuge, a way to express the emotions she had bottled up for so long. She joined an art class at a local center, and through it met others who shared her passion. Slowly but surely, these small steps helped Mary reclaim her sense of purpose. She realized that her life was not defined by the absence of her loved ones, but by her ability to create new relationships, explore new interests, and take care of her own well-being. Research shows that loneliness has a significant impact on both physical and mental health. A study published by the National Institute on Aging found that chronic loneliness in older adults is linked to a higher risk of heart disease, depression, and cognitive decline. In fact, loneliness can be as harmful to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. This makes it all the more important to find ways to combat feelings of isolation. Engaging in social activities, whether it's joining a group, reaching out to a neighbor, or even picking up a new hobby, can help counter the emotional toll of loneliness and promote overall well-being. The key takeaway here is that while loneliness can feel all-consuming, it's possible to turn it into an opportunity for growth. By seeking out new connections and focusing on personal development, you can find a sense of purpose and joy, even in the quiet moments. Loneliness can be overwhelming, but it's not the only challenge we face as we grow older. Another hurdle many encounter is finding new purpose in life. Let's explore how to reignite that spark and rediscover what brings meaning to your days. 2. Rediscovering purpose, how to stay active and engage in meaningful activities. As we age, it's easy to fall into a routine where the days blend together, each one seemingly the same as the last. But staying mentally and physically active is not only important for maintaining our health, it's essential for finding fulfillment and keeping a sense of purpose in life. For older adults, staying engaged in meaningful activities can help combat feelings of stagnation, reduce isolation, and even improve overall well-being. Consider the story of Robert, a 74-year-old man who, after retiring, found himself struggling with the lack of structure in his day. His wife had passed away a few years prior, and his children, though supportive, lived far away. For a while, Robert felt aimless, unsure of what to do with all the free time. But one day, after attending a local event about volunteering, he decided to offer his time at a nearby animal shelter. Robert had always loved animals, and he quickly found joy in helping care for abandoned pets. Not only did this activity give him a sense of purpose, but it also provided him with a reason to leave the house, meet new people, and be active. Similarly, Linda, a 68-year-old retiree, took up painting after retiring from her job as a school teacher. She'd always enjoyed art in her younger years, but had never pursued it seriously. When she began attending art classes at a community center, she discovered a new passion. The creative outlet not only gave her something to look forward to, but also connected her with others who shared her interest. It became a way to express herself, and the act of creating something with her hands brought a new kind of joy and accomplishment that she hadn't experienced in years. These stories illustrate the power of engaging in activities that bring meaning to your life. Whether it's volunteering, learning a new skill, or diving into a creative pursuit, these actions help reignite a sense of purpose and contribute to your mental and physical health. Research supports this as well. Studies have shown that staying active in social and creative activities reduces the risk of depression, enhances cognitive function, and even increases longevity. In fact, a study conducted by the Mayo Clinic found that older adults who volunteer regularly experience improved mental health, reduced stress levels, and a greater sense of life satisfaction. Volunteering, in particular, provides a sense of connection to others, which is vital for combating the isolation that often comes with aging. But how do you identify what brings you joy? The first step is to reflect on what you've enjoyed in the past. What hobbies or activities made you feel energized or fulfilled when you were younger? Perhaps it's something you haven't had time for in years, like playing an instrument or gardening. Or maybe it's a completely new pursuit you've always wanted to try, such as learning a new language or cooking a different cuisine. It's essential to give yourself permission to explore new interests, even if you're unsure where to start. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about the joy and satisfaction of doing something you love. Once you identify your passion, try to integrate it into your daily routine. Whether it's setting aside time each week to attend a class, volunteer, or practice a hobby, consistency is key. The more you commit to these activities, the more they will become a meaningful part of your life. And don't forget the importance of balance. While it's essential to stay active, it's equally important to take time to relax and enjoy the quieter moments as well. By finding new ways to engage in meaningful activities, you not only improve your physical and mental health, but you also create a life that's full of purpose and connection. These small steps, whether it's volunteering, picking up a paintbrush, or learning something new, can make a significant difference in your overall well-being. But as we explore new activities, there are bigger decisions ahead that shape our future, such as where we choose to live as we age. Let's talk about how to approach these important decisions with confidence and peace of mind. 3. Making life-altering decisions. Home, assisted living, or nursing homes. As we grow older, one of the most significant decisions we must face is where we will live. The idea of leaving the familiar comfort of our own home can be daunting, but sometimes it's necessary to consider alternatives, such as assisted living or even nursing homes. This choice can feel overwhelming, especially when we weigh the emotional attachment to our homes against the practicalities of aging. Deciding between staying at home, moving to an assisted living facility, or transitioning into a nursing home involves much more than just a physical move. It impacts our independence, our finances, and our sense of security. Take the example of Mary, a 72-year-old woman who had lived in the same home for over 40 years. After the death of her husband and the children moving out, Mary began to struggle with daily tasks. Simple chores like grocery shopping and cleaning became increasingly difficult, and her mobility started to decline. Despite her pride in maintaining her independence, she found herself facing more frequent falls and was eventually hospitalized after one incident. It was then that Mary was forced to confront a tough question. Should she continue to stay in her beloved home and manage as best as she could, or should she consider a move to assisted living? Mary wrestled with this decision for months, unsure of what was best for her well-being. The idea of leaving her home, the place filled with memories of her family, her garden, and the life she built, felt like giving up. But the reality of her physical limitations became undeniable. After consulting with her children and healthcare professionals, she realized that moving to an assisted living community might allow her to retain more independence than she had imagined. The facility she chose offered support for her daily needs, like meal preparation and medication management. But she could still participate in social activities and even maintain a small apartment. This compromise gave Mary the best of both worlds. She could remain as independent as possible, but with the reassurance of having professional care when needed. The decision to move to assisted living isn't always easy, but in Mary's case, it ultimately gave her peace of mind and improved her quality of life. It also highlighted an important aspect of such decisions: planning ahead. When we're younger, it's easy to ignore the reality of aging, but financial stability and understanding future healthcare needs are essential to making these kinds of decisions easier down the road. In Mary's case, she had planned ahead, investing in long-term care insurance that helped cover the costs of her move. Without this foresight, her decision would have been much more difficult. Early planning, including understanding health insurance options, researching housing alternatives, and saving for the future, can make a significant difference in the ease of this transition. Recent studies have shown a significant shift in preferences among older adults when it comes to their living arrangements. A growing trend indicates that more seniors are choosing to stay in their own homes for as long as possible, opting for in-home care rather than moving to a nursing home. According to the National Institute on Aging, approximately 90% of older adults prefer to age in place, with the majority saying they would rather remain in their homes with the support of caregivers or home health services. This is a shift away from the traditional model of nursing homes, which, while still an option, are not always seen as desirable due to the loss of independence they can bring. In-home care services, such as home health aides or even community-based support, have made it easier for older adults to stay in their homes, providing the necessary assistance with daily activities without giving up the comfort and familiarity of their environment. This allows many seniors to continue living on their own terms, retaining control over their lives and choices while receiving the help they need. However, it's important to note that in-home care can become costly, and planning for long-term expenses remains a critical part of this decision-making process. Ultimately, the decision of where to live as we age is highly personal, influenced by our physical needs, emotional desires, and financial capabilities. Some may opt for the support of assisted living or nursing homes, while others may choose to stay in their homes as long as possible, with the support of professional care. The key is to make an informed choice that aligns with your health and well-being. Regardless of where we live, it's important to nurture emotional independence and seek meaningful companionship. Let's now look at how we can build those essential connections, whether in our homes or elsewhere, and continue to live with purpose and joy. 4. Finding companionship and embracing emotional independence. As we grow older, it's inevitable that we will face the loss of loved ones, whether it's the death of a spouse, the departure of children, or the distancing of longtime friends. During these times, maintaining emotional independence becomes especially crucial. While family and close relationships can provide essential support, it's important to cultivate the ability to stand on our own emotionally. This independence allows us to find strength within ourselves, even during the most difficult moments, and it empowers us to seek new sources of connection and joy in life. Consider the story of James, a 70-year-old widower who, after the death of his wife, felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness. His children, though well-meaning, lived far away, and he found himself spending his days in a quiet house, consumed by the loss of the person who had been his partner for over 40 years. At first, James found it hard to even leave the house, feeling like he was abandoning his late wife's memory if he ventured out to meet people. He didn't want to burden his children, so he kept his feelings to himself. But over time, James realized that isolating himself wasn't honoring his wife's memory. It was preventing him from living the life he still had ahead of him. One day, while reading through a local community newsletter, James found a notice for a weekly book club. At first, he hesitated. He wasn't sure if he was ready to join a group of strangers, but he remembered how much he and his wife had loved reading together, and he thought it might be a small step toward rebuilding his social life. The first meeting was a bit awkward, but as time passed, James began to form friendships with the other members of the club. These new relationships, although not romantic, provided him with a sense of connection and emotional support that he hadn't realized he was missing. The book club became a lifeline, offering him something to look forward to each week, as well as a circle of friends who understood his struggles and provided encouragement. This story highlights an important point. Companionship doesn't always have to be romantic. It's about building meaningful relationships that support our emotional well-being. As we age, we may not have the same family dynamics we once had, but that doesn't mean we're destined to face life alone. In fact, cultivating new friendships and maintaining strong social networks is essential for combating the emotional toll of loneliness and isolation. Research shows that older adults who maintain close social connections have a significantly lower risk of depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. A study by the National Institute on Aging found that older adults with strong emotional support networks are healthier, happier, and tend to live longer than those who are socially isolated. So, how can you build these new relationships and find companionship? One of the best ways is to join local clubs or social events. Many community centers offer activities like art classes, gardening groups, or exercise classes specifically for older adults. These groups provide an opportunity to meet people with similar interests, making it easier to strike up conversations and form bonds. Additionally, consider online communities or social media groups dedicated to your hobbies or interests. These platforms allow you to connect with people all over the world who share your passions, offering a sense of belonging and emotional support that transcends physical distance. Volunteering is another great way to meet new people while also giving back to your community, whether it's helping at a local food bank, tutoring children, or assisting with community events. Volunteering not only provides a sense of purpose, but also opens the door to new friendships. Many people find that by helping others, they not only improve their own emotional well-being, but also create lasting connections that lead to fulfilling relationships. It's also important to take the first step in putting yourself out there. It can feel intimidating, especially after a long period of isolation, but even small efforts, like attending a local gathering or striking up a conversation with a neighbor, can lead to meaningful connections. The key is consistency. The more you engage with others, the more opportunities you'll have to build a supportive network of friends who can provide emotional care when you need it most. In the end, emotional independence isn't about shutting yourself off from others. It's about finding balance. It's about learning to rely on yourself while also welcoming the companionship of others who bring positivity and support into your life. It's about finding the strength to connect, even when it feels easier to retreat. Finally, after understanding how to stay socially and emotionally connected, let's talk about living fully in the moment and cherishing what we have. The journey of aging doesn't have to be one of loss. It can be a time of embracing new opportunities, cultivating joy, and making the most of every day. Aging doesn't have to mean isolation or loss of joy. By staying connected, finding new purposes, and making thoughtful decisions about where and how we live, we can continue to lead fulfilling lives with dignity and peace. Remember, it's never too late to forge new connections, pursue passions, or create a life that brings you happiness. I encourage you to reflect on your own journey. What steps can you take today to make the most of your golden years? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's inspire each other to live fully, no matter our age.